I'm James,
And I'm Kyle.
and these are our two Dobermans, Rip and Beth.
We sold everything and bought a cell phone.
And we're taking these crazy dogs with us on an epic adventure to sail around the world.
So follow us while we do sailing, exploring, and living a tropical dream.
Welcome to Dobies on Deck. Last time when we left off, the dogs were playing on Dolphin Island Beach. After about an hour or so, they looked like they were pretty tired, so we loaded them up and took them back to the boat. Did a quick wash down, which is great. This is fresh water at the back of the boat. It does eat out of our tanks, but it's good to get the dogs cleaned out. And then it was just such a great evening. Waters were calm. We didn't see any fish down there, but we wanted to give fishing a try. It'd been a little while. We've been eating hot dogs and hamburgers the past few nights, and so we were really excited to catch a fish and see what we could catch to have some dinner. So Kyle broke out the fishing pole and stood on the back of the boat to see what we could get, and after about 20 minutes we gave up and went back to the hot dog route. Of course, when you're putting hot dogs on the grill, you're not allowed to do so without clicking the tongs and also without being under direct supervision of at least one dog. And of course, when you go outside to get the hot dogs off of the grill, it requires the supervision of two dogs. We got the hot dogs off the grill and enjoyed a pretty nice evening with a beautiful sunset and just relaxed for the rest of the night. The next morning, we got up pretty early and set off from Dolphin Island to Gulf Shores, which is along the way in the Intercoastal Waterway to our next ultimate stop, which was just west of Pensacola, Florida. It was usually, I'm not a big fan of going down the Intercoastal Waterway, but one of the things that we discovered is that once you get east of the Mississippi River, all of the commercial traffic virtually goes away, and it's a lot of people's houses. It's a lot of smaller boats. Some of them went by us pretty quick, which would cause the boat to rock back and forth, but overall it was a great little trip down the Intercoastal to Gulf Shores. All of the bridges are at least 73 feet, and we're 61 feet, so we didn't have to stress at all about having to call ahead for bridges to open up and things like that. So it was a really nice trip getting over to this marina, which I'm not going to name, but it's there in Gulf Shores, and you can probably look it up, but we only spent one night in this place. Gulf Shores is a nice little town. This marina, as you can see, is pretty nice, but it's expensive, very expensive, and they want you to pay for laundry with quarters, which is kind of ridiculous for how much it costs. But anyway, they sent a guy out to help us to catch lines for us, help us get tied off, and it was an easy, not a lot of current, not a lot of wind. It was an easy docking. We got tied off and secured up and everything, got the water and electricity all hooked up, and took the dogs out, and then went on to, after we got cleaned up, went on to the shore and had us some dinner. Not sure if this place is brand new, but it looked like it was brand new. So if it's not brand new, they take very good care of it. So the restaurant area is like a strip with restaurants and little stores and boutiques and stuff on each side. This area, about every 10 minutes at night, apparently goes off like this. And it plays club music and laser show and all of that. Then it goes back to normal elevator music for another 9 minutes, and then it kicks off and does this again. So it's kind of neat. They said it's to keep people in the mood. After we had dinner, we went back to the boat, and again, this is mostly commercial traffic free. That was the only commercial boat we saw the entire night. So it was smooth sleeping, nice place, very quiet on this side of the buildings. And we got up early the next day and headed to Pensacola. Well, check that out. We made it to Florida. We are in Florida. We are in by God, Florida. We brought the dinghy to shore. That's the boat back there.
And this is a little anchorage spot on the east of Perdido Key. We're just barely inside Florida, just west of Pensacola. And the dogs have their own private island today. It's one of these little barrier islands that, I mean, check this water out. The water's barely moving. It's going to be an easy night's sleep tonight. Hopefully we have us a good sunset once the sun gets below the clouds. But yeah, so we anchored here on our way. We're going to be going to Destin tomorrow, I think, maybe. I'm not sure. Try for Destin, maybe.
Yeah, quit
halfway.
drinking water.
The dogs have not completely learned to stop drinking the seawater because they're used to being at the lake. And I mean, they drink the lake water. It's no big deal. But they're having a blast. They're having an absolute blast. So we want to thank everybody for continuing to watch us. We just had our first video that went over 1,000 views. In fact, it's already... Quit drinking the water! Rip! See? It's actually up to like 1,500 views today, so we're excited about that. I think it's starting to catch on. So yeah, we're here. Nearest makes no difference, Pensacola, Florida. Headed to the Keys. So we'll see how long that takes. 5 hours at a time, 6 hours at a time. But we may be doing our first overnight sail. We don't know yet. We're talking about it. So anyways, you guys take care, and we'll upload something in a little bit. Okay, so earlier when we were on the beach, it was kind of cloudy, and I was wondering if we were going to get a decent sunset. That's not bad. That is not bad. Water's glass. Got a little bit of fog kicking in here, as you can see. There's a bit of a fog advisory, not advisory, but a notice, I guess. But that sunset does not disappoint.
So we got back to the boat and decided that we were going to enjoy some hamburgers with our sunset. So we put the burgers on the grill, and the sunsets just don't disappoint. Got the burgers off, turned in for another early night so we could get up the next morning to set off early, and we woke up to this. Very thick fog all around us. In fact, when we first woke up, it was even thicker than that. You could barely even see the boat. As you can see, the fog is very thick. We do not like driving and when we can't see, obviously, so we stayed tight for another couple of hours, and eventually the fog burned off and we were able to get underway. Once we got out into the Gulf, I was stunned to find that we had the calmest sea state that we have experienced to date. I mean, we are motoring along here at 6-7 knots, and it's barely even moving the boat. I was really surprised. The water was like glass. We picked a perfect day to get over to Destin. Well, we thought we did, until we got into a restricted zone, and we were approached by a speedboat and told that we had entered an area.
Okay, so never had this happen before, but we were coming along into the Destin area. What is this, Fort Walton? This is Eglin Air Force Base is apparently right there. And it said restricted area. We looked it up and it said it's only restricted under elevated alert conditions or something like that. And that if you come in the area, you may be subject to identification and whatnot. We're fine with that. But it turns out, Beth, get out of there. It turns out we were driving into a live missile test area. There they go right there. They're talking. So speedboat came out. Very nice guy. Says, hey, y'all are about a mile out of this. It goes on until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And just wait, sit here and wait. So that's what we're doing. It's just sitting here bobbing around in the ocean. So the mission expires at 2 p.m., but they may decide to end it early if they do what they need to do. So we're monitoring the radio, waiting for them to say mission complete. He said as soon as they say mission complete, we are good to go. But yeah, He said some kind of a drone. They've got a drone up and they're just looking for something to blow up with it. I like it. Cool. So here we are, waiting. But we're almost to Destin, and that's good news.
So while we waited for the Air Force to finish their testing, we just floated around out here and relaxed. We put the life jackets on the dog, let them up on the front, and we just floated around in the middle of the Gulf and waited for the all clear. And eventually, they radioed, and then also the guy sent me a text saying we were good to go and that they had wrapped up their exercise. So we turned the engines back on and set off to Destin, Florida. We were told that going into Destin was a bit tricky because it's kind of narrow and there's supposed to be these wild currents that send you all around, and we were told it was going to be very shallow. We were very excited to see that at no point did we get any shallower than 13 feet, and even though there was some active dredging going on, it was pretty easy getting in there and getting set up. Once we got the anchor dropped and got the boat all set up, we dropped the dinghy down and took it to shore, where we met up with Kyle's parents. We decided to go to dinner at a place called Harbor Docks. We tried a few other places while we were there, but we just kept coming back to this place. They're not a sponsor, but I am going to talk very well about them because the place is amazing. There's a lot of locals, a lot of captains that go in there, a lot of fishermen, and it's just a cool place for locals. Um, like I said, we went there probably every day. Sometimes we were there for both lunch and for dinner. The place is that good. They have fresh seafood that they also supply some of the seafood to some of the other restaurants around there. Desserts are great. Dinner's great. The people are great. I can't say enough good things about Harbor Docks. I've been there since I think 1979, and a couple other bartenders have worked there almost the entire time, almost 40 years, or over 40 years actually. So go in and say hi to Stevie and Mikey, and Rachel and Sarah, and you will not be disappointed. The next day, Kyle's mom was nice enough to give us a ride around town where we did some provisioning. Had to get more food for the boat for our next few stops, and once we got all of the stuff that we needed, we went back to the boat, decided to eat on the boat again, fired up the oven, and put in one of our pizzas. So after an easy night in, we got up the next day and fired up the generator, but no power to the boat. No idea what was going on with it, but we couldn't be out there without power floating around, so we decided to find us a little dock nearby. It wasn't very expensive, but it wasn't cheap, but we needed a place to do repairs. So on this windy day, we were tied up, climbing down into the generator compartment to see what's going on. Well, we were on our way from... I'm down in the generator compartment. It's a day that ends in the letter Y, so we ask ourselves, why would we be working on the boat today? Well, it's just a day. It's just another day in the boat life. But when we got anchored over here in Destin, Destin Harbor, turned on the generator, no power to the boat. No power. Running, and it was outputting, but it was not powering the boat at all. So climb down in here, and one little breaker right there that you can see, the little flipper dude is broken off, but that little breaker was causing no power to the boat. But she's fixed. So now we are in good shape. So now on Monday or Tuesday when the weather lets up, we'll be headed on to Panama City, then Port St. Joe, and then Key West, I believe. Happy about it working. One of the good things about being on this dock was that there was a nearby little area where the dogs could run back and forth. They absolutely love this, whether it's a fence separating them or height separating them. I'm not sure what it is, but they love chasing each other back and forth like this. So every day we would take them down to this area, let them splash around, let them run back and forth, and have some fun. There wasn't really any wide open areas for us to do this where we could throw the frisbee or anything like that. So this was a great way for them to work out some energy before going back to the boat. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to our channel. We want to thank our patrons for all of their support, and we hope everybody will join us next time. Thanks for watching.
Don't drink the water.